I feel like my heart was ripped out, placed on a platter, and it's being eaten right before me. And you know who did that? You! I'm talking to you! I told you all I was going to be watching the movie Fixed, and you sat idly by, slapping your belly in pure delight, knowing what was about to happen to me. So many people commenting that this movie isn't that bad. It's a 5 out of 10, a 6 out of 10 even. It's nowhere near as disgusting as Mating Season, and you're a goddamn liar. There was one person in the corner of the comment section going, "No, Carlos, no lying to you. Free me from my shackles, I'll stop this, please." He was right. He was right. He was the only true subscriber, my true guardian angel, trying to look out for me. This movie sucks. Genuinely. I'm only 20 minutes in, so I can't give you a full review yet. I will be watching the whole thing, but I just want to give you my thoughts with just 20 minutes of the film entering my brain so far. I don't get it. Right, the dog getting fondled with his beautifully drawn tiddlywinks, his fondling sack. Oh yeah, I love it when they touch it. Is that what you want me to be saying while watching this film? Because I can't relate. It doesn't help that the animation is kind of good. It has like that old school feel to it, but at the same time, every single scene, especially for making a YouTube video, this just fucking sucks. Every single scene has the dog's gaping cloaca just in the front fold, so I constantly have to edit it out, and it pisses me off. And not to mention, let's not be like every other dog movie and not show this. Let's draw his dangling tiddlywinks, his lower sack, his undercarriage, all of it. Let's draw it in high definition detail. Woo! Because it plays a pivotal role in the film, that means they have to draw the dog's undercarriage, his balls. There, I said it. His balls. They had to draw it in high def. I don't like that one bit. I don't know why that was necessary. And they just have his dog cloaca. No, that doesn't work. His cloaca. Cloaca is actually acceptable in terms of monetization, so that's what I'm going to be referring to that as. I probably in 20 minutes already seen this dog's special hole where his leavings go over 100 times. And that bothers me. So the beginning of the movie, we get to see this wonderful puppy. His name is Bull. The family's excited to get him, and we immediately cut to 2 years later, and all of a sudden I hear a male voice going, "Who's a good boy? Oh yeah, who's a good boy?" As we cut to the dog, just, throwing it on his Nana's leg, getting down and dirty with it.
Who doesn't love their Nana? Yeah.
Just give it a good old humping, a good old rousing round of some humping on his Nana's leg. And, that's typical dog shenanigans, when a dog isn't spayed or neutered, they tend to get a little bit extra freaky. I was actually excited to see where they were gonna go, and then they decided to showcase his high-def undercarriage once again, and I immediately fell into despair because I just knew what kind of movie this was going to be, and they just proved it right away with Bull, the dog. His name is Bull. He falls off his Nana, and he's sitting like this on his back, and his Nana's like, "Oh, where are my reading glasses? Oh, what's that? Is that on the ground?" And she grabs a thing on the ground, and what do you think it was? It was his hog, his snake, his skin flute. She grabs it and is holding it for a long time, and Bull's all like, "Yep, that's my thing. What are you doing with that?" Really? This is the beginning of this movie that you were telling me isn't as bad as Mating Season? And it just gets worse, as the dog proceeds to run around the entire house, getting down and dirty with everything in sight, humping a little here, getting down with it here. And I read reviews from like a bunch of people who had watched this movie to try to get what I was into, and a lot of like the top reviews that gave a 10 out of 10 to this movie, they were all like, "Oh, if you go into it with expecting something wonderful and amazing, you're not gonna enjoy it. If you go into it expecting some raunchy comedy, you're gonna have a great time." Really? Really? You're gonna tell me that you're gonna give this movie a 10 out of 10 and you're gonna write,
"Yeah, I'm giving this movie a 10 out of 10 because I absolutely loved watching the dog's high-definition testicles go around the house and get down and dirty with everything, including people's legs, some ice cream. It was just so good to watch a dog. Fuck."
Yeah. I don't know. I personally don't see the appeal. So that's the entire opening sequence, and he eventually goes outside, and there's this dog named Honey, who he has taken a liking to. She is a show dog, and he's all about her. So they're having this conversation. They clearly have a, like, unrequited love for each other. They just don't know how to tell each other. That's actually a pretty interesting plotline. And I hate myself for laughing, but I actually did get one laugh out of this, like, opening sequence where she's a show dog, and so he's like, "Oh, so you're a show dog then? Well, would you like to partake in my royal penis?"
So you may partake in the royal penis.
Yeah, he says that in a British accent, and it actually got me to chuckle, and I was disappointed in myself, but at the same time, you know, that was kind of fucking funny. I enjoyed that. I would have been down for some more raunchy comedy like this instead of seeing the dog's tiddlywinks, his dangling bits, but, you know, to each their own, I guess. So they're having that conversation, and then Bull goes back inside. There's an entire sequence where it's just nothing but his balls swinging in the wind, swinging a little here as he tries to get inside, because they have to make sure that you know that Bull is a male. At least that's the only reason I could think that they would want to draw that over and 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 over again. And why did I say so many overs? Because I've seen this dog's private parts more than I've seen my own at this point. Genuinely, what is going on? So then they actually do something that got me to laugh one more time, and that's the only two times that I laughed at this movie so far, where it's time to go for a walk and you get to see all the dogs coming outside. And I actually thought it was funny from, like, an apartment lifestyle, like dogs who have to wait for their humans to use the bathroom and they're waiting patiently, with this chihuahua as the door opens, he's immediately like, "Oh, take me to the grass, I gotta shit."
Holy crap, I got a shit.
That was kind of funny. Like, that's the type of stuff that I would want from this movie, you know? Keep it a little bit rated R with the types of things that they're saying. You could have cursing, you could have swearing, whatever. But do things that are related to dogs that aren't just drawing private parts. Like, come on, man. Didn't the person who made this make Samurai Jack? What happened? What happened? I don't understand. Because then, after I got a little bit of a laugh from a dog saying, "Oh, I can't hold it in," we then cut to a bunch of dogs walking. Of course, I get to look at all of their beautiful holes on their butts. You know what I'm referring to. I've gotten to look at every single one because they have to show you those. We get to see this other dog, and he's just sitting there slorking on some poo, munching that stuff up. Nom, nom, nom.
It's just a little pre-playtime pick-me-up. Ah, lucky. You're eating cat shit.
And of course, the joke is, haha, dogs eat poop, they eat feces. Yippee. That's great. Wonderful. So they then go to the dog park, where there's a bunch of scenes that I can't show you in which they're all sniffing each other's butts, to say the least. And of course, I get to see all of their butts in high definition. So, yippee! Go me! I'm having a ball! So that's something to take into consideration. And then they meet this other dog who genuinely looked like he had been on the streets for like 10 years doing nothing but fentanyl. Just like, "Please give it to me. I'll give you 3 bones, 4 shillings just for some dog and all. Give me the dog and all, please." But it turns out that he just had his balls removed from his owners, and that's why he looks so decrepit and sad. So that sucks. He starts getting made fun of for a while about not having balls by this rich show dog, and it's very tragic. You just feel so bad for him. And then they just decide, for no reason other than to say that Bull wants to get down and dirty, he wants to have some sensual coitus, they decide to show 2 dogs getting down and dirty with each other, like right there, right on my screen, just in full view, having, you know, some romantic feelings, some romantic time with each other, as the female dog says, "Quick, the humans are gone. Put it in my butt. Just slide it in my butt. Put it in my butt, twin." Yeah. So that happens, and then we cut back to Bull and Honey having a conversation at the dog park. And then in between that, they decide to cut back to the dogs, and now the female dog is doing reverse cowgirl on the male dog. Now, I'm not going to go into more detail on that, but I want you to know it angers every single fiber of my being, and I fucking hate it so much. Why? It adds nothing to the movie. Are we ever going to see these dogs again? Probably not. I just had to watch them have sex. Why? Whatever. Oh, God. So, Bull, he then goes home and he really wants honey and he doesn't know what to do about it. And then his family starts treating him really good, giving him a rub down, letting him drink Kool-Aid out of a toilet. And he realizes that they're going to try and take his balls. His tiddlywinks, his undercarriage might be in jeopardy, so he needs to find a way to stop this from happening. And that is the 20 minutes that I got through. I really don't know where this movie could possibly be going. I'd like to imagine that he just goes around trying to get with everything in sight before they take away his useful little pair down there. I just don't know why this needed to be made. Like, genuinely, it's really just like somebody, one, wanted to draw a bunch of dogs getting down and dirty with each other, and two, they really wanted to draw balls, like, heavily, like it's something they were craving. Like, they were just sitting there like, I need it. And like, they were just shaking violently, they're sweating just because they didn't have a piece of paper and they didn't have a high budget definition Netflix film where they could just draw an ample amount of balls. And I just, it's just so awful. It's just so bad. Like, there's an hour left. Where could we go? I'm gonna watch more. It's not getting better, it's just getting worse. Makes me so uncomfortable. There's shows and movies where if you liked it, I would be all like, thumbs up, baby, all the way. I don't like it, but you can like it. This is not one of those movies. If you like this, I don't get it, and I'll never understand it. I really cannot comprehend it. So, Bull, he's out wandering on the streets, and he immediately starts having a conversation with his pair down there. He's talking to them, he names them, he likes them, and he starts running around town. He eventually finds this car where they're smoking that ganj. He inhales some of it, and he gets a little bit zooted, a little bit high up there, and that is when he starts hallucinating a little bit. And, well, I guess I'm afraid. Because all he does is sit there, stare at his tail, and I was all like, ooh, are we gonna get something, like, interesting in relation to dogs? Like how dogs chase their tails? Like, we could have this, like, little section where he's chasing his tail, and he's, like, all seductive about it, and maybe the tail talks to him, and it's like, oh, man, this is why dogs chase their tails. It's funny, because it relates to actual dogs. No, he imagines Honey, the let me do it for you woman, walking over the dog, and licking his balls, getting a good old, and of course, it shows it. Woo! So I didn't like that, but it turns out because it's all just a hallucinogenic nightmare, that is not real, and all of a sudden Bull is like, oh no, bro, what is actually on my balls? It's rats. Rats are eating my balls, bro. And yeah, so, rats are eating his balls, and he runs away from that, and now he's terrified, and then it all gets better. For a small amount of time, we get my favorite part of the movie so far. He goes in this alleyway where there's a bunch of cats, and all of his friends show up to try to help him and try to save him, and like 100 cats surround them, and they all just start going meow, 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 meow. They all just start meowing nonstop and all have this deadpan, like 100-yard stare on their face. And I thought it was hilarious as they're all just meowing, trying to lure them into a trance, and then all the cats just start ripping and clawing and beating the shit out of them. That was wonderful. That was some great comedy. I love seeing cats meow in a sadistic, cat-like, cult-like circle. That was beautiful. That was everything I could have needed. And then they just destroy it again. It's 2 steps forward, 18 steps backward. I don't know if it's personally your cup of tea. Like, I like horror movies, I like slashers, I'm all for it, but there has to be a reason for things happening other than the characters being dogs. It just feels unnecessary to me. It doesn't add anything to the plot. It is just, haha, let's show dogs brutally murdering a squirrel and call it a day, huh? Because they all start chasing a squirrel, and they catch the squirrel, and start chewing it to bits, chomping off its head and chewing it in their mouth. Now, I don't really care about animals dying in any form of media. That's not what I really care about. But when it's done needlessly and just for, hey, let's watch this animal torture, and that's the entire joke, there's no other comedy with it, it's not really my cup of tea. I'm not going to complain too much about that one because I know a bunch of people will be like, oh, it was slapstick for me. It was actually funny to watch this squirrel brutally die in the dog's mouth while begging and pleading for forgiveness. But I'm not going to, like, can take away any points for that. I could see why some people would actually like that. It's kind of just whatever. So they do that, and then they start going around on the town, and they find this woman who has a little dog in the purse. You know, that type of girl who's like,
Oh, let me get my caramel latte. Oh, come on, Petunia.
she's got her in the purse, and she's like,
Oh, Petunia, I love carrying you around everywhere you go. I know your legs are too feeble to ever be used, my little purse dog. I know you can't even walk anymore, but God, do I love having you in my purse, and that is your only form of existence.
they see a girl like that, and they attack her to try to free the dog, and they free the dog, and then the dog is like, oh boy, freedom, runs out into the road and gets run over. Hot dog, that's what I needed in my life, gee whiz. Nothing better than freedom followed by excruciating pain and death. Oh, hot dog. So yeah, that dog dies, and then Bull, he realizes that he wants to go and see Honey. So he goes to where she's having her big dog show and is going to try to confess his feelings for her. And it doesn't work out because he doesn't think that he's good enough. But that's when Honey realizes that she wants to be with Bull because she doesn't want to be a show dog anymore. But Bull is already going to the whorehouse. Yeah. You heard that right, didn't you? The whorehouse, where there are dogs getting down and dirty. It is a strip club for dogs. And once again, I don't really know what this video is going to look like editing-wise. The clips are probably not going to match up. I mean, I do a horrible job at that anyway. But the clips are probably not going to match up with what's going on the screen because I have to cut so much from this movie. There is an entire sequence where they walk into this whorehouse, and there's just a bunch of stripper dogs doing things that I never really wanted dogs to do. And you can make the argument, you know, the furries. I don't know if this is something that the furries would want, but these aren't necessarily anthropomorphic creatures. They're just dogs. There's nothing different about them. It's just dogs getting down and dirty, which is why it's so confusing as to why the guy who would work on Samurai Jack would make a zoophile movie. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but one of the tiny dogs that was in the crew that came to rescue Bull, he meets a big boy, a big Rottweiler. I forget what that dog's breed is called. I'm blanking in my mind. He meets a big one, and the big one decides to take him away and teach him a lesson, to say the least. At the same time, Bull meets a dog named Molasses that looks just like Honey, and they go up into a private room, and he enters her, to say the least, to put it plain for you. He enters her. Honey sees this, and Honey is heartbroken, and that happens, and then the tiny dog and the big dog, they're sitting there on this balcony, and the tiny dog's saying, oh, I just don't know how to love myself, and the big dog's all like, oh, honey, let me show you, and begins to lick him up real good, and he makes a couple faces at that. And then the bigger dog lays down, and apparently they're not a girl, and Tiny Dog is mesmerized by this as the big dog starts going, this, honey, this is my specialness. This is my royalty. This is my everything.
That is my specialness, my everything. Myself, which is very deserving of love.
You could only imagine what I'm talking about because I can't go too deep into detail, but the tiny dog then proceeds to start licking all up on her Tweedledee and Tweedledum, to put it plain. Yeah, so that was something I didn't know that I wanted to see in my life, and am I a better, more whole person because of it? Have I changed? Maybe this is what it was all leading to. Everything. Me watching a tiny little beagle just get down and dirty on this big Rottweiler dog's privates. It's everything I could have asked for. So all the dogs, they get taken to the pound. And that's where I am so far. I still got a little bit left to watch, but I'm pretty terrified. They're in the pound. How are they gonna get out? What are they gonna do? Are they gonna take a bite out of you? Are they gonna maybe take a poo? Are they gonna do anything dog related? Oh yes, but it's not what you would have thought. They all lift up their legs in unison and release one of the biggest examples of a tsunami of a yellow liquid I have ever seen in my entire life. The security guard running in, sprinting in to try to solve this. Ah, it's everywhere! All over me. And that was just a good reenactment of what's going on. Once again, I'm not going to show you this. I don't know the limits of what YouTube would feel about hundreds of dogs all lifting their legs up and just releasing that yellow thunder, so I'm not really going to test that one. And I think that's for the best. So they all do that in a pretty heinous scene, and you would be thinking, oh man, that's the climax. They finally escaped the pound. That is basically the equivalent of what it was like in the theaters in the Planet of the Apes movies when Caesar, he's getting beat down and he goes, no! It's just like that, but with piss. Woo! That's the big moment, the big turning point in the movie. But what if I told you it gets worse? Would you believe me? Would you believe me when I said it gets worse? I don't know. So, Bull, realizing that he has to get Honey back, he has to do whatever he can, he runs because he realizes that the show dog, who is a male who won the show, is going to try to mate with Honey. They're going to try and get down and dirty with each other, and he cannot let that happen. So he runs all the way there, and he gets stopped by a fence, and we get to see a little bit of what Honey and the show dog are talking about. And the male show dog, he shows off his bleached gaping hole to say how great it is. Yeah, so that's cool. And Bull gets launched over the fence. He gets launched over the fence and he lands on top of Honey. And I was thinking, oh man, he's gonna slide in between them and he's gonna get to do the nasty with Honey, because that's gonna bring it all full circle. But then that's also kind of unconsensual, which is kind of weird in this movie where the dog's gonna have a prefrontal cortex. So he doesn't do that. He sees that the show dog has his eyes closed and he's moving in to do a little bit of a pounding, and so he moves his body in the way. And he's standing on Honey, and the show dog, he gets inside a Bull. And so for the next 3 minutes, Bull is just sitting there taking it while confessing his love for Honey. He's just sitting there as he's like, I've always, loved you. So, yay.
Oh, my queen.
So he gets finished in, yeah, not a good sentence. He gets finished in, and then he goes back, and we get like one of the only wholesome moments in this movie, where at nighttime Honey comes up and knocks on his door, and they both confess their love for each other, and they love each. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm dying inside. They confess their love for each other, and they share one night of passion. And the next day, Bull goes to get his testicles removed, and he no longer has them, but he shared a night of passion with Honey, and he ends up having a bunch of children with her, and that is a big old happy ending, yeah! Big old happy ending! Wow, what a movie! What a time to be alive! I can't believe I just watched that. I really don't know how people could like sit idly by and say that that doesn't compare to Mating Season. It's literally if Mating Season was a movie. It didn't have any really comedic qualities, and when they would just immediately replace it with this entire idea of sex is the only thing that is going to make you laugh. But that wasn't even remotely the case for the movie. The only time I was genuinely laughing was when seeing dogs do dog things but spun in a comedic way, like a dog who's cooped up in an apartment all day finally getting to go outside. I need to shit. Like, that's funny. Like, that's cool, I laughed. But I laughed at the cats all being like a cult, that was good. But everything else is just, look at this dog's balls. And that's not what I want from my consumption of media. I don't know who would. Like, it's okay to like lowbrow humor, but there's just nothing here. There's nothing to cling on to. There's personally nothing for me to enjoy in this one. I can't believe that things like this can exist. It's honestly so baffling. I would give this movie a solid 1 out of 10. And if you disagree with me, I could probably debate you for a very long time on why I hate every single frame of this movie and why I think it does nothing, says nothing, and it's a complete and utter waste of time. It's just, wow. Wowee. This is the magnum opus. This is exactly what I needed in my life, I guess. Alright, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I got plenty of more content where I'm going to be suffering for your enjoyment coming very soon. Going to be doing some shows that I like soon as well, too. Or just better shows in general, because it's been a lot of slop lately. Going to need some more positive stuff in my life, but I appreciate every single one of you. Love the support. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.